In this video, I'm going to talk about different types of lines in triangles and the special points where they intersect. First, I'm going to define angle bisector. An angle bisector is a segment, ray, or line that cuts an angle into two congruent parts. In this picture, ray AD is an angle bisector because it cuts angle BAC into two congruent angles, angle BAD and angle DAC. I am now going to explore points that lie on an angle bisector and their distance from the sides of the angle. In triangle ABC, ray AD is an angle bisector for angle BAC. Notice that the distances from point D to each side of the angle, which are also the sides of the triangle, are the same. As I move point D along the ray, this relationship continues. Therefore, any point located on the angle bisector of an angle will be equidistant from the sides of the angle. Also, point E is only equidistant from the sides of the angle when I move it to the angle bisector. When three angle bisectors of a triangle intersect, they all intersect in one point called the incenter. The incenter is equidistant from all three sides of the triangle. Now I'm going to define perpendicular bisector. A perpendicular bisector is a segment, ray, or line that intersects a segment at the midpoint, so it cuts the segment into two congruent parts, and at a right angle. In this picture, line DC is a perpendicular bisector. I am now going to explore points that lie on the perpendicular bisector and their distance from the endpoints of the segment. In triangle ABF, line DC is a perpendicular bisector to side AB. Notice that point D is equidistant from the endpoint of segment AB. Those endpoints are also vertices of triangle ABF. As I move point D along the perpendicular bisector, it remains equidistant from the two vertices. Therefore, a point anywhere on the perpendicular bisector is equidistant from the endpoints of the segment and therefore from the two vertices of the triangle that are the endpoints of that side. Also, point E is only equidistant from the endpoints of the segment when I move it to the perpendicular bisector. Therefore, a point is only equidistant from the endpoints of a segment when it is on the perpendicular bisector. When the three perpendicular bisectors of a triangle intersect, they all intersect in one point called the circumcenter. The circumcenter is equidistant from all three vertices of the triangle. Medians are segments in a triangle whose endpoints are a vertex and the midpoint of a side. Since there are three vertices and three sides in a triangle, there are 3 medians. All 3 medians intersect in one point called the centroid. The centroid is the center of gravity for the triangle. Altitudes are segments with an endpoint at a vertex that intersect the opposite side at a 90-degree angle. There are 3 altitudes in a triangle, and all 3 intersect in one point called the orthocenter. The coordinates of the circumcenter, centroid, and orthocenter can be found in the coordinate plane when the vertices of the triangle are given. After you finish this video, you will do an activity in Desmos to learn how to find these coordinates. Hopefully, you now have a good understanding of the different types of lines, or rays, or segments in triangles, and the special point where they intersect. Now go to Desmos and do the coordinate geometry activity.